Okay, my friends, here it is, the video that's going to explain to you everything you need to know in order to save your own seeds for next year. Now, this is very important because there are some certain things you have to be aware of in order to successfully save your seeds. So for that reason, I'm going to say a few words about it, and then I will show you some actual examples of how I save seeds, and then I'll take you in the garden and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Because fall is fast approaching, as you can tell by the flannel that I'm wearing, and so now is the time that we want to save seeds. So, first we must understand a few things. There are essentially three types of plants. There are annuals, biennials, and perennials. The annuals live for 1 year. Biennials live for 2 years. Perennials live for 3 years and beyond, up to hundreds of years. So, therefore, due to that lifespan constraint, the annual must go from seed all the way to seed again in the same growing season. This is your tomatoes, cucumbers, corn, squash, peppers, those kind of things. The biennials, their first year, focus all their efforts on vegetative growth. The second year, then, they focus all their efforts on producing seed. This is going to be your cabbage, your kale, your collard greens, Swiss chard, those kind of things. And then the perennials are obviously grow and flower and produce seed for many years. So now we must understand, what is a seed, really? Well, take for example this cayenne pepper seed. This is a cayenne pepper, this is the seed. And from this one cayenne pepper seed, it can produce 100,000 or more cayenne peppers. Now, how is this possible? Because if I eat this one cayenne pepper seed, I don't get the heat of all those 100,000 cayenne peppers and blow my head off. No, because the 100,000 cayenne peppers lie dormant within this seed in the form of information. The seed is information. The seed is the blueprint that the organism uses in order to construct and build the factory that is then going to be able to produce the 100,000 more of these exact cayenne peppers. It's just mind-blowing in its perfection when you can understand this. And so what are we saving? We are saving the blueprints for future plants. Now, this leads me into the next very important topic, and that is that there are essentially three kinds of seeds, of blueprints. There is the open pollinated, there is the hybrid, and there are the genetically modified. Now, the genetically modified seeds, the home gardener doesn't actually have to worry about. Contrary to popular belief, it's difficult to get your hand on genetically modified seeds because they are done in a laboratory, and there's patents involved, and there's a lot of money involved, and they don't just give that product out for free. You have to really try to get the genetically modified seeds. So the home gardener doesn't have to worry about that. But for the home gardener, there's essentially two kinds. That's going to be the open pollinated and the hybrid. Now, the open pollinated are pollinated, fertilized by natural means: bees, wind, bats, moths, all of that kind of stuff. The hybrid seeds, or the hybrid plants, are deliberately manipulated by humans, but not genetically modified. It's different. So the hybrid seeds come from people who breed the plants for specific characteristics. That can be size or disease resistant or whatever it is, but they're not in there genetically modifying it. So they're not the same thing. Now, this is important because the seeds that come from the open pollinated plants will produce seeds that will produce plants that produce the exact same kind of plant the following year, as opposed to the hybrid seeds, the hybrid plants, which will, if it produces seed at all, the chances of it producing another identical plant are highly unlikely. It could happen, but they're very unlikely. It's very unstable hybridizing. So for that reason, the home gardener, especially if you're talking about food security and all of this stuff that we do on this channel, and feeding yourself and your family quality stuff, you want to stick with the open pollinated variety, because only the open pollinated can you save seed from and get the same kind of plant year after year. Now, fortunately for us, all heirloom variety of plants are open pollinated. Heirloom just means that it's an open pollinated plant that has been around for 40 years or more. That's loosely the definition of it. So we want to stick to the heirloom variety of plants. That way we can save the seeds and get the same type of plant for next year. Now that we know all of that, how do we actually save the seeds? Well, it's quite simple, really. But there are a few things that you want to look out for. Now, for the most part, you just let the plant go through its entire life cycle. The annuals will grow like the pepper, and it will begin to shrivel up. The plant will begin to die back. You actually just let all of nature take its course, and you let the plant die back naturally until the flower head is dead, until the beans are crispy and dry, and you hear them rattling around. The peas, the whole plant's dead, crispy and dry like a rattle. You can hear them inside. You need the plant to go through its whole life cycle. That's when you harvest. That's when the blueprints are complete, is at the end of the plant's life cycle. Now, if you want to get it from biennials, then you have to overwinter. You have to overwinter the plant. You have to, cover it with something or keep it protected so that it can grow again next year, and then you'll harvest the seed in the same way. Once the plant and the seed pod all dies back, that's when you harvest the seed. So now that you have a clearer understanding of all that, hopefully I will take you out and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, now we can see this marigold plant is still thriving, and so this bloom would not be a good one to save for seed yet because they're still too young. However, if we go to this bloom, it's just beginning to be the appropriate age. We can just let the marigold dry completely till it's crispy. But the main thing is when you open it up, you can see that the seeds are totally formed, that there's distinct mature looking seeds, and that would be acceptable. As opposed to this flaming zinnia, that none of these are ready yet for saving seed. They're all still too fresh and young. Now, here we are, October 2nd of last year, and I want you to have a listen to how dry these beans must be. Now listen up, my friends. Here's the secret on peppers. Peppers cross-pollinate very easily. So if you grow more than one variety of pepper, you will want to purchase the seeds each year, because if you save seeds and you have multiple different kinds of peppers, there will be totally blended, morphed characteristics, and there's no way of telling if it's going to be spicy or sweet or any of that. So peppers, I buy fresh every year. Now here we are in the basement. The beginning of the harvest is coming in, and you can see the onions, and the onions are a biennial, so these are going to last all winter, and then in the springtime, a few of them that are left, we will plant them into the garden, and they will set seed their second year, and we'll save seeds for the following year. That's how I grew all of those. Now the garlic, you've already watched the video that I just made on planting garlic, so you know everything about how to plant this and the timing and all of that. It's very important. And you see here, my friends, this Tahitian melon squash is from last year. And even though there's some dust on it, it is still perfectly edible. Here I want to show you my seed container that I store them in. It is got these secure latches on it. It is airtight relatively. It's made with an O-ring, and that's what you want to keep out moisture, humidity, all that stuff. And then on this side, I just have the leftover seed packets from stuff I'm using. On this side, I have some nice sturdy Ziploc type bags that I keep everything in. Now, corn falls in the same category as the peppers. Corn will cross-pollinate, so if you plant multiple varieties, you have to buy the seed each year. But then the rest of them, I just like these green onions. You just label them, you save them. And these zinnias, you wait till they're nice and dried out, and you just bag them up. Now, beans are very, very true to type, so you can plant multiple different kinds and harvest them, and they'll be true. And I keep these in mason jars, most of them. These here, you see these chamomile, I just pick them and let them dry naturally in the house, in the air, and that is adequate for most herbs. And then you just put them into whatever container you have. That is going to keep out the moisture and light. Now here is the squash seeds. So squash, cucumbers, tomatoes, things like that. You just put the seeds into a jar, give it a swish around, and then pour it through a strainer. And then place them between two pieces of paper towel like this, let them air dry, and then you will simply, once they're nice and dry, bag them up like this, and you're good to go. So there you have it, my friends. If you feel like you gained something from the video, give it a thumbs up. Also, check out the links in the description, because if you would like to grow along with us this winter, we're going to be growing mushrooms, all kinds of culinary mushrooms, microgreens, and sprouts. All winter long, there will be videos about that kind of stuff. So check out the links in the description to get your supplies now, because those videos will really be starting in about another 3 weeks to a month, because there's still so much to do outside. Because guess what? More important than any kind of fertilizer is the base fertility. What you do now for next year determines really the best nutrition for the plants. So that's what the videos are going to be about coming up.